Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Emily and here on this channel we talk about all things realistic budgeting and personal finance. Today we're doing our February reset. We're going to talk about January's goals, reset some new ones for February, and look at all the numbers. So grab a drink, get cozy, and let's get started. So I've talked about it a lot already, but January was a big financial month for me because of the purchase of my new car. So when I set these goals at the beginning of the month, I didn't quite anticipate that. I thought that I was going to be getting money from insurance, getting my car fixed, and being on my way. So unfortunately, that's not what happened. So as I'm looking at my financial goals for January, or really the only financial goal I had written down was resolve car issue. So I did do that. So yay, go us. But obviously it was a little different than I thought it was gonna be. As far as spending goes, we're gonna look at the money in a bit, like the numbers. But I feel like I did pretty well. I don't know, I felt like I was not spending a ton comparatively to what I've done in the past, but I'm excited to look at those numbers. And as far as like mindset, habits, goals, those kinds of things, any like lifestyle goals, I'm still working towards a few of the ones that I set for January. But the biggest one I would say that I was focused on was drinking more water and getting up before my son. And drinking more water I definitely hit. I have this like 40-ounce cup of water and I try and drink 2 of those a day. I didn't always hit 2, but I definitely hit 1 most days. So I'm gonna give myself a little check plus for that. And then waking up before my son is really hard. He gets up fairly early, but I am not a morning riser at all. So I'm gonna probably carry that one over into February. So let's talk about the fun part, the part that we're all here for. Let's look at the numbers for this month. So here we have my expenses and my bills and subscriptions. Expenses, $110 for pets. That's always given. That's kitty litter and food. Clothes, I spent $40 this month, which was more than what I was anticipating. But I never really budget for clothes. I'm not really a shopper in that way. I would love to be, but I've got other focuses right now. Coffee. We went under this month. I got a couple of gift cards for Christmas, but I do think it's important to keep that number the same because I know my habits and it's my little treat to myself. Beauty was some shampoos and conditioners, so that was under budget. Didn't do anything for books or entertainment. Eating out, we went over by $75, which objectively speaking, not that crazy for me. So I think in turn that I have some ideas for what I'm going to do in February. We'll talk about that in the February goals. Miscellaneous was just a random $3. So even though it's over, it's like, I'm not even counting it. Night out, I spent $50 somewhere. I don't remember what that is, but it's there. And then we only went $30 over in our joint expenses for like groceries and things, which is great. So that I would consider a win too. Going over to bills and subscriptions. Unfortunately, I was late on paying my health and dental insurance. There was an issue with it, so this month we didn't track it. Those were paid for, but it didn't get tracked into January because I paid them technically in February. So we'll skip down those, but Spotify, Netflix, Apple Arcade, Apple Care, Audible, and Canva were all pretty standard. Dropout and FabFitFun are yearly subscriptions, so I don't pay those on a regular monthly basis. Disney Plus, ClassPass, Patreon, Twitch, Cleanup, Amazon Prime, and iCloud. Patreon charged me twice for some reason. I ended up unsubscribing from a bunch of these. So hopefully in February we'll see a drastic drop. So as far as savings for January, I was able to keep $585 in my cash envelopes that didn't need to go back to the bank. Also, I didn't put as much towards paying my debt off this month, again because of the car, for obvious reasons. So overall, January was really unpredictable, but I'm really proud of the way that I was able to take the money that I had and make it work towards this very unexpected expense and just kind of roll with the punches and keep hitting some of those goals that I had set at the beginning of the month. So what is changing for February? I think that's the question in any financial reset, is how do we take the information that we just learned and incorporate it into our next month. So for finance goals for February, what I would love to do as my primary goal is to put at least $200 per week into home, and that will help pay down that remaining balance. For spending, budgeting, that sort of thing, what I would love to do is to eat out one time per week max. And then I want to set like one habit for February to keep up with. So normally twice a month I track my expenses. I go through every single expense and I put it into my spreadsheet, but I only do it twice a month, so it's usually kind of a bigger undertaking every time I do it. I wonder if I start tracking it once per week, that it won't feel so overwhelming when I do it at the end of the month. So let's try that. Once per week. Update expense tracker. Definitely feel like our theme for February is going to be rebuilding our savings and being intentional with our spending. So for February, I adjusted some of my numbers in my expense categories. I am going to budget a little bit more towards the categories that went over. So for clothes, I'm going to budget $40, which is an increase from the $20 it was before. Eating out got an increase as well, which was $200 instead of $100, and I hope that that just kind of creates that overall buffer for me, but still want to kind of minimize how much I'm eating out. So but I think it just being realistic is more important than restrictive. So that is for eating out. I think everything else is pretty much the same. And then bills and subscriptions, I unsubscribed from a bunch of things. So I unsubscribed from Apple Arcade, I unsubscribed from ClassPass, Patreon, and that cleanup app. So hopefully this will give me a little bit more control. At some point this month, I would love to talk to my husband about which streaming services we want to keep, and maybe moving those over to our joint account instead of individually paying for certain things, because I think we're both paying for Amazon Prime, which just seems silly. We live in the same house and we're married, so maybe just one Amazon Prime is okay. Things like that I think we should reassess. So that's definitely something I'd love to do in February too. So that wraps up our financial reset. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. It really helps support. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know what your #1 goal is for the month of February. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd love to have you here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.